Hi guys, welcome back to the video. In this video, we are going to create the oral arm and the tentacles. Next, we can start to make the oral arm. So to make the arm, we need a mesh line. So let's add a cube. Name it arm mesh line. Then go into edit mode, press M to merge all vertices at center. Then press E followed by G to extrude it. Press N to toggle the side panel. Then I want to move it to -30. Okay, now we need to subdivide it. So let's press A to select all, right click and subdivide it. Let's increase the number of cut to 15 maybe. Then we need to add vertex group to the first point. So select the first point, add vertex group, assign, name it pin. Okay, then exit edit mode, add a new geometry node, press home button to see the node, then drag the bell we created just now into the geometry node editor, add a join geometry, connect them together. And now I want to animate the bell to go up and down. So to do this, we need to get the animation driver we created just now. So let's go back to the jellyfish bell, go to the animation driver, let's select and copy it, go back to the arm mesh line, then paste the node, and to move it up and down, we need a set position. Then we only want it to move in Z axis, so we need a combine XYZ. Connect it to offset. Then connect the animation driver to the Z axis. Then we can adjust the animation driver to get the motion we want. Let's put 14 and 7. So you can experiment with this number yourself. All we need to do is to set a minimum value and a maximum value for the motion. Let's play the animation to check the result. Okay, this is good for me. And now let's select the set position, combine XYZ and the animation driver and press Ctrl G to group them. Press Tab to go out to the parent node tree. Then I want to name it swimming. Copy it, paste it here. Okay, then I think we can move the mesh line slightly lower. Let's add a transform node. Let's put -2.2 maybe. Then make it shorter as well. Okay, now we can start to add cloth simulation to the line. So before we apply the simulation, we need to disconnect the bell now because we don't want to apply the simulation to the bell. So drag the time indicator back to 0, go to Physics tab, add a cloth simulation, then go to the shape section, select the pin. This is the pin we selected just now. Then go to the cache section. I want the simulation to start at 0 and end in 1000 frame. Then go to the top. I want to increase the quality step to 14. This will make the simulation a lot more detailed. Reduce the speed multiplier to 0.5. You can experiment with this value. Then press spacebar to see the result. Okay, I'm good with this. Okay, now we can start to turn this into mesh. So go to the modifier tab, select the geometry node, add a new geometry node. Then we can name this mesh line. Hover and copy it, paste here. For this one, we can name it line to mesh. Again, hover it, copy and paste it. Okay, so the reason why I want to separate this geometry node is because I want to turn the basic line into mesh after the cloth simulation. So I only want to apply the cloth simulation to the basic line so that the simulation will be a lot faster. So after the simulation, then only I turn it into mesh. So to turn the line into mesh, we need the mesh to curve node. Then we need a curve to mesh node. And then we need to draw a profile curve. I'm going to draw the profile curve in 3D viewport. Press numpad 1 to see the front view. Add a cube. Go into edit mode. Merge all the points at center. Press E to extrude and draw the shape we want. Okay, now exit edit mode. We can name it arm profile curve. Then we can hide it for now. And now let's go back to the geometry node editor. Then drag the profile curve into geometry node editor. Then we need to turn it into curve as well. Connect it to profile curve. Then we need to twist it, so let's add a set curve tilt. Then again we need a spline parameter. Then add a math node. We want to multiply it. Let's put 58 maybe. Then I think we can add more segment to the line. Let's add a resample curve. 200 maybe. Then as you can see, the arm shape is now upside down and we need to flip it. So let's add a transform node. Rotate the x-axis. I think we can add a subdivision surface to make the profile curve smoother. Okay, now I want to make the arm to be thinner at the top and bottom, and I want it to be thicker at the center. So to do this, we need a set curve radius. Then connect the spline parameter to the radius. So the spline parameter output the range of the line from 0 to 1. So that's why you can see it makes the radius scale from small to big. So to further adjust the shape, we need a float curve. And now we can start to adjust the shape. Okay, now let's select all these nodes, frame them, then name it line to mesh. Next, I want to add some wrinkles to the arm. So to do this, we need to select the point every each row and move them upward. So same like what we did just now. We want to find out which index point we want to select. So we need a set position. We need index. Then we need to let Blender know which point we want to select. Then we need integer node. Let's put minus 0.8 maybe. You can put any number you like. We just want to visualize which point we are select. So the first point we want to select is 29. And the second point is 59. 89. And 119. So as you can see, the index number that we want to select is the number after every 30 numbers. So same like just now, we can use a set ID. Split the screen and go to spreadsheet. So now we want to make the ID number for index 29, 59, 89 and 119 and so on to become the same ID number. So same as what we did just now, add ID input. Add a math node with modulo. Put 30 because the number we want to select is after every 30 numbers. And now you can see all the ID number we want to select is become 29. 29 is 29. Then 59 is 29 as well. 89 is 29. 119 is 29. And now we can delete the index node. Connect the ID to value Then the ID number we want to select is 29. Actually, I want this to go upward. Let's put 0.4 maybe. Then we can adjust this value to select more point. Put 9 maybe. Okay, 9 is good for me. Okay, now let's frame all this node. Name it wrinkles. Okay, next I want to add some float effect onto it so that it will look like the oral arm is integrated with water. So to do it, again, let's add a set position. Press Alt P to unframe it. Then we need a noise texture. Connect the color to offset. Change this to 4D. Then we can reduce the scale to make it less noisy. Then let's add a scene time node. Connect the frames to W. Then play the animation to check the result. The speed is too fast. Let's click this button to go to the first frame. Press Ctrl G to undo it. So to slow it down, we need to divide the frame number. Let's divide 15. Okay, 15 is good for me. Okay, now let's frame all this node. Frame it and name it float effect. Then we can hide the arm mesh line for now. Okay, next we can start to add the tentacles. So to add the tentacles, first we need to select the point for us to clone the tentacles later. So go back to the jellyfish bell, unhide it, go to the solidify section here. Okay, now the point we want to capture is at the outer side of the bell, which means we want to capture the point after this extrude mesh. So let's add a store name attribute. And then we want to capture the index, so it should be vector. And now we need to find out the point that we want to select. So again, it will be exactly same like what we did just now. Add a set position. Set z-axis to minus 0.5 maybe, so that we can see which point we are select. Then add index node. Connect to selection. Then add a math node. Set it to compare. Epsilon to 0. Add integer. And now, then let's start to find the number we want. So the first number is 379. The second point I want is 3xx. So 3xx minus 379 is 9. So we can keep at 9 and see is that the point we want to select. So the third point I want to select is 397 plus 9 again, 406. So obviously we need to use a modulo with 9 to select the numbers. So the numbers we want is all greater than 378. So let's change the compare to greater than. Put 378. Then after 378, I want to select the point using modulo. So let's select the math node. Press Ctrl Shift D to duplicate it. Disconnect this line. Then change this to modulo and put 9. Then let's add a vector math node. Set it to multiply. And now I want to invert the selection of this modulo. So let's add a boolean math. Set it to not. Okay, now we have done select the point. So let's delete this set position. We don't need it anymore. Connect the multiply to the value here. In store name attribute, name the attribute tentacles. Frame all this node, name it tentacles point selection. So now let's hide the bell. Next, we can start to create the tentacles. So in the 3D viewport, let's add a cube. Let's name it tentacles. Go into edit mode, then press M and merge all the points at center. Then press E followed by G to extrude it. Then move it to -25 maybe. Then press A to select all points. Right click, subdivide it. And I think we need 50 cuts. So the reason why I add so many cuts is because later when I add cloth simulation onto this, I want it to be able to fold. Then again, we need to pin the point at the top here. So select the point at the top. Then go to Object Data tab, add a vertex group, click Assign, name it Pin, and then exit edit mode, add a new geometry node, press Home button to see the node, then drag the bell into Geometry Node Editor, add a join geometry, connect them together, then add Instant on Point node, connect the line to the instant, connect the instant to join geometry, then we can disconnect this line. Then we need to connect the bell to the point because we get all the points from the bell. Then we want to select the point we selected just now. So let's add a name attribute. In the name column, select tentacles, connect it to selection. Then I think we can make this line slightly shorter. Then go back to the arm mesh line, go to the modifier properties tab, select the mesh line geometry node. Then we want to copy the swimming node group, go back to tentacles again, paste the node group. Then let's put it after the join geometry. Then before we go to simulation, we need to add realize instant because the simulation can't apply on instant object. Now we can start to add cloth simulation. So again, before we add the simulation, I want to disconnect the bell because we don't want to apply the simulation on this bell. Then go to Physics tab, add cloth. Then go to Shape section, add Pin. Then go to Cache section. I want to start the simulation at frame 0 and end in frame 1000. Go to the top, increase the step quality to 12 maybe. The higher the number, the higher quality of simulation we will get. Speed multiplier to 1.5 maybe. Then I want the tension to 5. Now let's play the animation to see the result. Okay, I'm good with the result. Let's press this button to go to the first frame. Press Ctrl G to undo it. And now we can start to turn them into mesh. So let's go to Modifier tab, add a new geometry node. Then let's name this Line to Mesh. Hover and copy it. Paste it. Name this Mesh Line. Again, hover and copy it. Paste it. Then again, we need a Mesh to Curve node. And we need a Curve to Mesh node. Then add a rectangle. Connect it to Profile Curve. Fill Cap. Then I want the top of the tentacles become thinner and the bottom become thicker. So to do this again, let's add a Set Curve Radius. Then we need a Spline parameter. To better control the thickness, we need a Float Curve. Okay, now let's select all these nodes, frame it and name them Tentacles Mesh. Next, we can start to bring the bell, the oral arm and the tentacles together. So let's hide all objects. Add a cube, name it Jellyfish. Add a new geometry node, drag the arm mesh line, Jellyfish bell and tentacles to the geometry node editor. Then delete this group input, we don't need it anymore. Add a join geometry. Then join 3 of them together. And now as you can see, the position of the jellyfish bell is slightly off with other parts. The reason is because we haven't added the movement of swimming node group to the bell. So let's go back to the tentacles. Then go to the line to mesh. Sorry, I just realized the name is wrong. So the node here should be mesh line. And this should be line to mesh. So now we need to go to mesh line geometry node. Then copy the swimming node group. Then go back to jellyfish, paste the node. Then let's put it after the jellyfish bell. Let's play the animation to check the result. I think we can try to increase the amount of tentacles. So let's go to the jellyfish bell. Go to the tentacles point selection. Then let's try to decrease the modulo to 6 maybe. Press this button to go to the first frame. Press play again to see the result. Okay, it looks a lot better. Okay, now we done the jellyfish. So now select the jellyfish. Go to material tab. Then add 3 material. Name this bell, oral arm, and tentacles. Then in the geometry node editor, press home button to see all the nodes. Then we can start to add set material. Then select the material by refer to this object. So this is the arm. So let's select oral arm. And this is the jellyfish bell. So bell. And this is tentacles. Okay, now let's go to shader editor. Let's start from the bell. Select the bell. Okay, before we start anything, let's turn the render engine to cycles. Device to GPU. Go back to the material tab. Then add an area light. Move it higher. Then turn on the render preview. I think we can turn off the wireframe now. Let's increase the density to 2000 maybe. And increase the size to 25 maybe. Then go back to the shader editor. We need a mix shader. Add an emission. Connect it to mix shader. Then I want to make it blue color. Let's increase the strength to 2 maybe. Then change this base color to another blue color. And then we need a layer weight. Connect it to the factor. Let's reduce the weight to 0.3 maybe. You can try it with a different value to get the result you want. Then we can add a color ramp to further control it. Then we can slightly adjust the black value. Put 0.3 maybe. Then for the principal node here, I want to tweak it to become a jelly material. So let's go to transmission. Increase to 1. Let's increase the IOR to 2.45. Then we can slightly increase the specular. Next, we can start to add material to the arm. So let's copy the material of the bell. Then paste it at the oral arm. Then for the oral arm, I want to give it a pink color. But you can put any color you like. Let's increase the strength to 20 maybe. Then we don't need the IOR and transmission anymore. So let's put 0, 0. Then let's decrease the alpha to 0.4 maybe. Then I want to change the base color to black color. I think we can slightly adjust the color ramp as well. Okay, then for the tentacles, press home button to see the node. We can simply change the base color to blue color. Specular increase to 0.7 maybe. Decrease to 0.2. Next, we can start to add camera. So let's turn off the render preview. Add a camera. Then move it to the place we want. Press numpad 0 to see the camera view. Okay, now press numpad 1 to see the front view. And we need to add the volume for the underwater scene. So let's add a cube. Then we need to scale it bigger. Make sure it covers the jellyfish. Then add a new material. We can delete the principal node. Then we want to add a principal volume. Then connect it to the volume. Press numpad 0 to see the camera view again. Turn on the render preview. Then we can turn off all the line here as well. And now we can play around with this value. Let's change the background color to black color. Okay, this is good for me. Next, I want to add some shadow for the water. So again, turn off the render preview. Turn on all the wireframe. Press numpad 1 to see the front view. Let's add a plane. Scale it bigger, put 80 maybe. Then move it to the top of the cube. Add a new material. Turn on preview material. Then add a color ramp. Connect it to alpha. Select the color ramp and press Ctrl T. Make sure you have activated the node wrangler add-on before you press Ctrl T. Then I want to replace the image texture with noise texture. Then instead of using UV, I want to use generated. Then we can adjust the color ramp to see the result. Let's increase the scale a little bit. Then we can duplicate this noise texture and put it here. And then I want to move the texture so that it will look like the surface of the sea. So for the rotation of x-axis, let's start hashtag frame divide 120 maybe. Actually, you can divide any number you like. It depends on how fast you want it to be. So this is good for me. So now, let's bring the area light to the top of the place. Turn on the render preview. Go to the light properties tab. Then I want to change it to sunlight. Press numpad 0 to see the camera view. Let's off the wireframe. I think this is too bright. So let's reduce the strength to 50 maybe. Okay, now I want the jellyfish to keep swimming up slowly. So let's turn off the render preview. Turn on the wireframe. Then select the jellyfish. Then in the location for Z-axis, let's start hashtag frame divide 5 maybe. Okay, I think this is good for me. And next, I want to add all these jellyfish around our main jellyfish, but I want to remove the arm of the jellyfish, and I want the material of this jellyfish to be a transparent jelly material, so that people will focus more on our main jellyfish instead of this one. So let's press numpad 1 to see the front view. Let's duplicate this cube. Let's name it jellyfish around maybe. Put whatever name you like. Then we want to duplicate this jellyfish as well. So press Shift D. Let's rename it jellyfish background maybe. Then go to the modifier tab, select the geometry node. Then make a single user copy. Go to geometry node editor. Then I want to delete the arm. Go to the material tab. Delete the tentacles and the oral arm. Then for the bell material, we need to apply single user copy. So in the geometry node editor, for the set material, let's select bell 001. This one as well. Then we can hide the jellyfish background. Select the jellyfish around. Add a new geometry node. Then I want to add distribute point on face. Add instant on point. Drag the jellyfish background into the geometry node editor. Connect it to instance. The size is too big, so let's add a random value. Connect it to the scale. Let's put 0.01 for this. And now I think we need to scale down the jellyfish background to make it cover inside the volume. I think we can increase the size of the volume as well. Move the surface of the sea and the light as well. Then I think we can decrease the numbers of the jellyfish background. So let's decrease the density to 5 maybe. I think 2 is good. Press numpad 0 to see the camera view. Okay, next I want to parent my camera to the jellyfish. So let's select the camera, hold shift and select the jellyfish. Press Ctrl P and parent it. Then let's play the animation to see the result. Then I think we can add subdivision surface to the jellyfish as well. So let's select the jellyfish, add a subdivision surface. So it's look a lot better now. Same for the jellyfish background, add a subdivision surface. Then let's turn on the render preview. Let's try to tweak the rotation of the jellyfish around. Then we can slightly tweak the camera position as well. Okay, now finally we done it. So if you like my video, please subscribe and see you in the next video. Bye.